How to stay motivated? Well, actually, you don't. Motivation is emotion driven and, as such, is not a reliable driving force. Instead, you have to choose some kind of rational source of engine, and this is discipline. Discipline is very important in life for the simple reason that it's the highest form of self-love. That's why it is so important, because we are what we do. If you are trying to pursue excellence, it's a habit. Excellence is a habit. Aristotle said that we are what we do, and this is discipline. Also, discipline, it's such a beautiful concept because it basically connects the whole chain of thinking about something, practicing, and also becoming what you wanted. And also, when you become what you really wanted in your life, you start seeing yourself with more respect, with self-respect, for the simple reason that becoming what you wanted embodies like the version of yourself you admire the most. So this dynamic unlocks like a very positive buckle, so everything is growing and growing. This is a nurturing environment that you really need to cultivate. How to cultivate discipline then? Well, here guys, I will show you my 5 ways of cultivating discipline, or 5 steps necessary. These things are based on my own experience and also by reading many books like Atomic Habits or The Laws of Human Nature. The first part is get to know you, man. Get to know you. Look at yourself in the mirror and examine yourself, study yourself, look for weaknesses and strengths, but with a critic eye. Don't fool yourself in thinking that you are something grandiose or something like that. It is good sometimes to have this kind of thinking because it's a good coping mechanism and it's a healthy self-esteem approach. But when we want to know ourselves, we have to look at ourselves how we truly are. So this is the importance of developing this so-called self-awareness. Another good exercise that I really recommend you doing is like to connect yourself to your inner child, to go back in the past and reconnect to the time where you were always curious, discovering things, doing activities when things were really easy to do because it was natural. Before all the society, family, friends imposed some doctrines on you, some programs, when you were totally free and you didn't give a damn about anything because it was everything about you. All the things you were like a truly conqueror in that moment when you were a child. Conquering everything, and all the good things that you were seeing fascinate you because you are looking at life through the lens of curiosity and also with the potential of doing something productive. This is the first step and perhaps the most difficult one. The second concept is just the avoidance of temptations, avoidance of excessive pleasure. And this concept is also related to the concept I already explained in one of my previous videos about delayed gratification. To endure some kind of mission without rewarding yourself with things that don't really give you something meaningful in life. Also, we can start doing so by avoiding very small things. For example, if you're trying to lose weight and you really love chocolates, stop buying them, stop storing them in the kitchen, and problem solved. By not having these kind of things on your reach, you will be able to at least bypass the real need or compulsion to eat them all, so everything will be easier. Another thing about this thing, it is really good in my opinion to cultivate minimalism. When our routine or goal is simple and we do everything simple, like in the process, it is easier to stick with it, to stick with the routine. Because, for example, if you wanna gain weight in the gym or stuff, start cooking some simple things. So you are not wasting energy throughout your day thinking about what kind of food you're gonna prepare, this and that, because you are not wasting energy in thinking. That's why, for example, Mark Zuckerberg is wearing all the time the same t-shirt, for the simple reason, and he has said it himself, that he doesn't have to think about what kind of clothes to wear. So that's why it is so important to build some kind of easy routine so you can follow it without wasting energy, you know? Yeah, you can say to me like, okay, but this is easy decision and stuff. Yeah, okay, sure, it could be. But what about if you're doing something long term and it really needs your attention? So eventually it will get wearing. So that's the explanation. Another thing very dangerous when it comes to pleasure is like we sooner or later, when we go for them in excess, we basically become like slaves of those things, or of alcohol, can be coffee or stuff like that. That's why some people can't start their days without drinking alcohol, you know, or coffee in some other cases. So they really need it, and eventually, since that they develop some kind of addiction to it, because it's just a matter of time till you develop some kind of addiction, they will need a higher quantity of this product, of this substance, in order to please themselves. And this is what I already discussed before. It's like your threshold of dopamine is higher and higher. So in order to get some kind of a stimulus in your nervous system about like pleasure or being happy, you will need a higher amount of this thing. Sooner or later you will be addicted, and you will be a slave of that good or that product or that substance, and you won't accomplish anything meaningful. You will become literally a zombie. The third big step is related to sticking to a plan and actually sticking to it, you know, execution plan and sticking to the plan. This is it. Basically, it is statistically proven that in order to build a habit for long term, you need 66 days of that practice. So the thing is quite simple. If you can resist doing something in a routinary manner for 66 days continuously, you will adopt that behavior as a permanent habit. So tell yourself that this is the goal, and you have to endure this path for 66 days, and then it will become effortless to do. In order to follow this thing clearly, obviously the first step is to set your goal clearly. How do you want to be? You have to have like a clear goal from the very beginning. So this is a very important step. When you have this, stick to the plan, do the thing. It doesn't matter how you feel. This is not about feelings, it's about like how bad do you want it, and that's it. So the first step in order to make this routine easier, you have to discover first your higher purpose. As I said before, try to connect when you were a child, the things that were very natural for you, or some forms of play that really remind you about your fascinations in life, about the things that really trigger that curiosity. I don't know if you remember, but probably when you were a child, you had like a full conviction of what you wanted to be, but for some reason, throughout life, because of all the doctrines that society put on us, you changed your mind. You started not seeing yourself as a worthy person of accomplishing those goals, and this is something that you really need to get rid of it. You really need to get rid of that burden of those ideas that society, family, friends and stuff put on you. Another good, very important thing is like setting to yourself strict deadlines. When you set yourself a strict deadline, you will do the thing within the deadline. When you don't put yourself any deadlines, you are like just postponing, procrastinating, because you have infinite amount of time in your mind, you know. But when you do this strictly, your brain, your motivation will follow. Trust me, do this. If you have to do something, give yourself 2 weeks and be rigid with that. Another very important thing when it comes to sticking to a plan is like absorbing purposeful sources of energy. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, with people who is able to criticize you but in a constructive manner, so you can always get something in return from them. Avoid at all costs the complainer, avoid at all costs the person who's like unhappy or always nagging about everything. Those are the most dangerous people to surround yourself with. They are like, as a humans, we are very sensitive to those kind of vibes. We tend to absorb the good and bad vibes. That's why it is so important to avoid these kind of people at all cost, man. Do it. You won't regret it. It's something really necessary. In this line, in this train of thought, it is also very important to set yourself like micro goals. By accomplishing these micro goals, you will have some kind of true dopamine spikes that will really encouraging you to continue with your mission, with your tasks, and you can give yourself a small reward, and that way you will continue. You are like building some small baby steps into your goal, and this is something that you really need to do in order to get accountable with your mission. In this, in also something really important is losing yourself in the work. Eventually, if you immerse yourself into what you're doing, if you are focusing, you will reach like a trance-like state, and this is very rich because you will be so focused, so concentrated into things that you will start appreciating all the grinding, and you won't be like lured by the temptations and things that are going on outside your place of work. So this is basically the step where you become you are in love with what you're doing. These are the so-called peak experiences by psychologist Abraham Maslow. And you sacrifice yourself doing what you are dedicating your time to and start having these peak experiences, nothing will distract you and you will be forever changed. And those kind of efforts that you're making will change you in such a way that you will be rewarded for all the time and efforts that you're making. And thus your sense of purpose will be intensified. This is just a positive buckle that you really need to get into. Personally, sometimes I am super focused when I am in the gym, and I am so concentrated that I don't realize what's going on in the rest in the gym, and it's just me, the irons, and the things that I want to accomplish. And this is something that you can reach in any kind of work that you're trying to do or pursue in your goals. So this is so beautiful step, and I really wish you that you can accomplish this. The fourth step to build solid discipline is like convincing yourself deeply that you can accomplish something, that you have willpower. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What is a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is to think so highly on you that you will see yourself as a person of respect, and you will do the things because you think that you really can do something. If your self-talk is about saying to yourself like you're weak, you are lazy and stuff, obviously your unconscious part of your mind will assume that those things are true and you won't accomplish anything. That's why positive self-talk it's so important and positive and can push you to reach your limits. I'm not talking about believing yourself to be a god or something like that. Of course not. It is about having like a balanced kind of self-esteem, not going to an delusional stage of life. But having the belief that you have like a higher purpose in the world, and ultimate purpose will give you a degree of resilience that nothing else can offer you. So this is the trick. It is a very powerful tool if you believe highly about yourself. If you believe highly about yourself, you will accomplish the thing probably because of this dynamic called a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the fifth step to build discipline, in my opinion, one of the most powerful and important steps that you really need to do is like using failure and rejection as a fuel. Use boycotters and naysayers as a fuel, as a puppet to fulfill your needs, your purpose. Prove them wrong. This is basically it. Prove them wrong, show what you are made of and what you can accomplish. If something went wrong, okay, move on quickly. Forgive yourself. Maybe you weren't so wise, or maybe you lacked experience, but don't fall into self-pity. Recognize your mistakes, assume all the responsibilities of your failure or rejection, and move on. Don't cry the whole life about that. Don't be nagging the whole life about your past mistakes. Learn from them. Use them as a tool to becoming wiser. The boycotters and the naysayers will always criticize you, but you don't have to internalize those criticisms, because most of the time just the criticism that they are making is just a projection of how they feel about themselves. It's never about you, and if you take it personal, you fell into this dynamic. So use all the bad criticism, the people who don't believe you, the people who used you, the people who did you wrong, in your favor. Use this bad energy to unlock the best version of yourself, to unlock your goals. Maybe you were fired because they thought that you were lazy and stuff. Prove them wrong. Use that energy. You are furious, totally furious about something that happened in the past. Go to the gym and burn all that energy in the gym to become bigger, to gain more muscle, to run faster. Do all those things. That energy doesn't serve any purpose if you're not using it for something positive. And that's why I truly believe that there is no such a thing of a negative emotion as long as it is correctly channeled. Okay, if you are super furious about something, or if you have sadness, but you can turn this into a useful emotion, you can use those so-called negative emotions into doing something productive. For instance, to have like unlimited energy to work even more towards your goals. Or maybe you can use the fury in the gym to become better, to become stronger, or not to be like the person who hurt you. So see the bad things in life as an opportunity to become wiser, to use that in your own favor. Don't do like most people, like they fall in alcoholism and stuff. That's why it is so important to forgive yourself for your past mistakes, but you don't have to be forever in that state. And well guys, this is basically the list of the 5 steps required to build solid discipline. Personally, I train 6 times a week, and I am sticking like strict meal plan with a lot of protein and stuff. I am bulking, so I'm not counting so much calories, but that's the thing I did personally to be accountable in my own lifestyle. So I hope that this video worked, guys. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel, like and share all the things. See you guys next time. Felipe out.